I said it before and I'll say it again.
That scene, that last scene.
What does it mean?
I'm the dude, you know?
Get the fuck out of here. No, I cannot. That final scene
starts now.
Hello. Welcome back to That Final Scene. My name is Sophie. That is the obligatory, I have one chance at looking at the camera.
The awkward stare down the lens.
I have to acknowledge the listeners.
The listeners at home.
Yes. Hi, my name is Sophie and I'll be your host for hopefully not the next hour, but less. Hi, Simon. Hi, Ben.
Yo.
Hello.
How's the team? How are you guys doing?
Yeah, good.
Yeah?
Tired. I don't know what it is about it being wintry now and all being so dark in the evenings that I feel like I'm very tired. Well, it hasn't stopped me staying up late most nights watching movie or TVs, but...
What have you been watching late into the night?
I've been watching so much Bond late into the night. It's
really?
actually ridiculous.
Nice.
Yeah, because they're all on Prime, so I've just been marathoning the shit out of it, and then it's actually gotten to the stage where if I go to the gym and go on the treadmill now, I listen to Bond theme songs.
Oh my God.
Because some of those, they're not the slow, Bassy-esque
Bassy's the one.
But no, not for running though. For running, I've got a bit of some Duran Duran, Aha, Chris Cornell, the hardcore bangers like Living Daylights and stuff like that, which are incredible tunes.
License to Kill.
Yeah. Well, no, License to Kill's quite slow though.
He's got a license to kill.
Yeah,
oh my God,
tune.
I can't.
Such a weird film, but I watched that one recently actually, because I know how big of a fan of that you are, and it's such a weird fucking film.
What do you think of it?
It's just there's
out of place.
Yeah, it just feels a bit out of place. I think both of Timothy Dalton's kind of feel out of place in a way because it was quite different at that point. But it's got Benicio del Toro as the weird
son
henchman.
of the drug dealer.
Yeah, as Dario. And he's so weird. His all of his deliveries for every line is crazy.
There's the scene where James is hanging off this ledge with a cable tie around his wrist, and underneath are rotating blades that we used to chop up the drugs.
So much peril.
And he's like, "When you're down to your knees, you'll be begging me to kill you."
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah.
Horrid.
It's so weird, but yeah. So yeah, I've been watching lots of Bond either late at night or during the day.
Well, that's probably because Amazon dropped their reality show,
yeah,
007.
But I'm refusing to watch that. I'm not going to watch that.
I watched it.
Is it good? It's like Amazing Race, isn't it? It's like challenge type stuff, right? I don't really know what it is other than Brian Cox is
this
in it.
from the producers of James Bond?
Yeah, and it's Brian Cox is the controller or something, and he gives people challenges, right?
So it's Amazon because they bought MGM, which is why they have so Amazon now owns anything James Bond, right? Because they bought MGM. So that is the first venture into the JCU, I guess, James Cinematic Universe.
Under Miss Moneypenny's kimono.
Yeah.
Oh my. The JBCU.
I did enjoy it, but I think I'm in a reality show era, which
you liked it.
It's not bad. Brian Cox did annoy me. I just thought he was out of place.
Is he scripted?
Oh yeah, 100%. Everything he says is scripted, and he's as Ben said, he's the controller. So he's basically.
I'd say
literally
they've just
the controller.
thrown a load of money at him.
Yeah, it's insanely expensive. And I like that. I like that it was so well produced. It's basically 9 couples and the controller tasks them with a bunch of James Bond tasks. And as they progress through the missions get harder and harder. And to be fair, towards the end, they got extremely hard. So it's a combination of, James Bond missions and Who Wants to Become a Millionaire, because they also ask them
does one of them have to fish diamonds out of a lady's tummy button?
Oh God.
Oh well, yeah, fairly close.
Or, as Halle Berry says, leave it in. Or there's the Roger Moore one where the belly dancer has a bullet in her belly button.
Oh
yeah. And he in this really weird bit just sucks it out of her belly button and then swallows the bullet or something. It's really weird.
I don't know how this franchise hasn't been cancelled, but it has made it.
I'm glad it hasn't.
It's the lovable rogue of film.
What would my life be if those
know.
movies had been cancelled? Funny because we're going to talk about prequels and sequels later.
Yes,
but I mean, but yeah. That's just a litany of things that have been keeping me up at night, the Bond movies.
I mean, it's interesting to say that because I would have never thought that James Bond has a bunch of sequels, but they are a bunch of sequels.
Yeah, technically they are.
Yeah, they are. Of course they are, yeah.
Up until recently, they'd never been direct sequel. It's like an anthology almost. Is an anthology the right word?
Yeah.
I mean, it's the same character, but lots of different stories and none of them really follow on from one another.
Yeah. Well, the Daniel Craig ones have been direct sequels in a way.
Yeah, Daniel Craig's have all been direct sequels. They're the only ones that have ever really had like a tie-in, I think. Am I right saying that? I think so. Maybe some of the earlier ones.
Timothy Dalton ones have. There's two of those, aren't there?
There's two of them, but like, yeah, but it's not like they. It's
and
not
the
like
Felix
there's
Leiter
connections.
story carries through.
Well, it's the same actor who plays him,
Yeah.
but they had that in a couple of different ones. I mean, M was played by the same person for
Of
lots
course,
of
now
different
Bond's
movies.
dead.
Yeah,
So that's the end of it.
I know, heartbreaking.
Oops.
I think I said this after we stopped recording last week, but I think I said this to Sophie, and it sounded slightly profound, but then when I thought about it, it sounds really wanky. I was like, I think I'm ready to watch that film again.
I know. Did
Because
you?
I watched it in the cinema, and then I bought it when it came out on DVD, and it's still in the packaging because I haven't had the heart to watch it. And I'm like,
Still in the package.
I think I'm ready to watch it now. And I say that, and then I'll be like sending you guys voice messages, me bawling my eyes out. I was like, I wasn't ready. I haven't even gotten to the end of the cold open.
We need a reaction video from you.
Wait,
Oh,
what's
God.
the cold open?
Well, the cold open is the bit before the title sequence. That's
The
what that's
gun
called.
animation sequence.
Yeah, before the gun barrels. So like,
Dude, sometimes I fast forward.
I mean,
that.
License to Kill, where they catch the plane. You know. That's the cold open on the way to Felix's wedding.
Oh right, okay. It's not, but there's the bit after that where it's like a post opening sequence where it goes into the song and the animation with the gun and the dripping blood. And
Yeah.
stuff.
So all the bits at the start is called the cold open normally because it's a lot of the time it has nothing to do with the film. Half the time it'll be something that is like completely different, like surfing into North Korea. See, that's that.
Or is it supposed to be
yeah.
the back end of the previous film, and then you're like, oh,
That would be funny if that like the start of it is the end of the last one,
Yeah, my God.
like in some weird TV
and also
show
like
crossover.
even if the actors change, it's like the previous actor, like Pierce Brosnan into Daniel Craig.
Well, like he pulls off a mask, like in Mission
Tom Cruise-
Impossible.
yeah, Tom Cruise
he
style.
Tom Cruises
Yeah.
it. Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah.
Simon, what about you?
I watched quite a hard hitting documentary called Once Upon a Time in Northern Ireland.
Yeah. I watched the first episode of that
really
the other
good.
night.
What do you think?
I mean, it's heavy, man. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it's
like,
on iPlayer. isn't
It's a
it?
very good documentary.
yeah.
It is
Is
incredible.
it a new documentary or did it just
It's only
come
about
out?
a year or two old,
Okay.
maybe.
Yeah.
There's only like 6 episodes. First one's long though. It's like an hour and a half. The first one.
Very good. They've got
It's very
very
intense.
good access to people that lived through the Troubles and
Yeah.
really good raw interview footage with them
Mm.
and
Yeah.
really good editing as well. It's very understated.
Yeah.
So I watched that. I finished my Merkel documentary.
Jesus,
Wow.
these are some
Cool.
heavy stuff.
You're in your
like
documentary era.
Heavy hitters, yeah.
And then I watched Barbie.
That was
And?
the outlier.
Thoughts?
Yeah, so I obviously it's hard to watch it without. I couldn't do my usual thing and ignore all the trailers and stuff. But it was not bad. But I expected it to be, for the social comment to be a bit more profound.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't move because you were saying how moving you found it.
God, I cried at the end of it. Yeah. I
Yeah,
got-
that end,
maybe that's just me. Maybe.
the end. The end
Maybe I'm the
sequence
problem.
was-
Yeah, maybe I'm
Actually,
the problem. Yeah.
I wanted to because obviously this podcast is supposed to be about the end of films. So the end section of Barbie is like this montage sequence of young girls growing up, or like just young kids and families and just family life. It's like a series of like bursts, and it's all kind of it's like memories, isn't it? For about a minute and a half, and then it cuts to Barbie in the back of the car, and it looks like she's going to a job interview.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she is, isn't she? Isn't that what she's doing?
But she gets
No.
to the reception desk of what you think is the company she's going to have the job interview for, because everyone in the car is like, good luck, whatever.
Yeah.
And then she says, I'm here for my gynecology appointment.
Yeah, she's
Yeah.
going for her smear test.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
why is that funny? And why is it
It's not funny.
relevant?
It's not
What's-
funny. It's educational. As in, it's almost like it's funny. Wow. It
I didn't get
shows-
it at all.
it shows us the final transition into be an actual woman, and when you are a woman, you turn into a real woman when you get your period and when you go
Yeah.
to your OBGYN. So for me, that was more like an ticky, like educational piece for women to get tested.
But it was
Almost
just, for me, it was just completely out of place. I just didn't understand. Maybe I missed the point of that, the flow of it, but I didn't get it.
I get what you mean about the flow. I think it was a nice ending. Like I like that it ended with going to the gynecologist for some reason.
Yeah.
Like, that's a natural.
I mean, it made me think.
Even that's more important as opposed to going all girl boss on
Yeah.
Barbie and being like,
She's
I'm
doing
gonna
the,
get
she's
I'm gonna go
doing the things
CEO.
that every woman has to do now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like it's It's not the perfect life, you know, where it's just living in the Barbie house. It's like, well, I live in a world of smear tests and all these kind of things.
Yeah, exactly.
My other comment was, I thought, I don't know if everyone else has already said all this. I'm just repeating stuff, but Ken had all the best funny lines.
Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah, and I thought that when I saw it, but I also think that like I think a lot of people said at the time that like it's Ken, like he definitely has the funnier lines, and I think Gosling makes the character. But
He's
I think
superb, yeah.
But I think that's not fair as well, because that I think takes away of how good Margot Robbie is at Barbie, because
She's really good.
Like it's not like the most standout performance in the world, but like being Barbie, you could very easily do it really badly. You know what I mean? Like I think it'd be more noticeable if she was a really shit Barbie, but actually she did a really good job at it.
I thought it was difficult because, you know, they're trying to make the point that it's tough being Barbie in the real world, i.e. a girl.
Yeah.
But then she's like the most perfect, pristine example of what our society thinks a woman should be. So she's got every advantage going for her.
But that's who Barbie is.
They were trying to crowbar it. And I know there was that edit in the film where they have a note to filmmakers. It's hard to make that point considering how beautiful the star is or whatever.
Yeah,
wouldn't
And I
you-
thought that wasn't enough. That wasn't. It was like they used that as a get out. But to me, it didn't.
But wouldn't you consider it overly quote unquote like woke if they had someone who's definitely not conventionally beautiful and they tried to make something out of
No,
them?
that wouldn't have worked either. But I
Yeah.
just think they were just trying to make points that didn't really work.
I think the casting worked because she's Barbie. Like Margot Robbie is Barbie.
Yeah, she looks like
Even
Barbie.
if you're this beautiful, you still struggle.
It's true though.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
beauty privilege is a thing.
Yeah, I guess so. But it's. I was looking for something more profound.
Yeah, no, for
But
sure.
that's
No,
the point
yeah.
that, you know,
yeah.
Barbie is taken advantage of as well, you know.
Yeah. I think it's more about, I don't think it's just about feminism. I think it's about capitalism as well. I
Yeah.
think there's a lot of like
Yeah.
layered commentary. But I agreed, it's not the most profound movie in the
The
world.
bit that made me think actually was when Ken discovers the patriarchy and then he goes back and tells everyone about
Hilarious.
it. But then there's quite a few women in Ken's world that are loving it and that are all subservient to him already. And that made me think about, you know, about our lives and how much of us is really us and how much of us is just what we've been brainwashed
Programmed
Yeah,
to do.
of
and
course.
programmed
Yeah.
with. Yeah. So that was my favorite comment of the film.
What did you make of the Ronson soundtrack?
There wasn't as much of it as I thought there'd be because I kept looking at the tunes and it was like Lizzo and
Yeah, but every song was produced by him.
oh right, okay. Well, I thought it was excellent. The
Yeah,
music
so like
was
I think
yeah.
his hands are on everything.
I didn't. I thought some of
Yeah.
it wasn't him. Okay, yeah.
No,
great.
I think it's all produced by him, but obviously just with different. I think the only one that he doesn't have as much of an impact on is the Billie Eilish one,
Yeah, probably.
because I think she tends to just work with her brother.
Yeah.
But I think the rest of them, like the Dua Lipa one, definitely is like was
Yeah.
all written
Yeah.
by him. Like I mean, you can hear it's him. The
the
disco
music
riffs and
fits
stuff.
in like a glove. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the set pieces are incredible, and like even that dance scene at Barbie's dream house is amazing.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm just Ken deserves to win an Oscar. It deserves to win the best
It
song.
was so good. Yeah.
I mean, it's
I
fantastic.
could see him getting nominated.
I wanted to be nominated just so we can have them all perform at it, because I think you know the way they get all they get the Oscar best songs to perform at the Oscars. I think it would be amazing if you had
cool.
Mark Ronson / Josh Freese and then Ryan Gosling, Simu Liu, Ncuti Gatwa, all those people who had played Ken coming in to like perform it as well would be insane.
Iconic.
It would be absolutely amazing.
Iconic. Yeah. Oh, I'd love that.
Yeah, I just want to watch it again.
Yeah.
I really do. I really do want to watch
Yeah.
it again. I'm hoping somebody buys me the Blu-ray for Christmas. I'm like manifesting that and putting it out in the world that I want it. But
Ben, you also watched The Killer.
yeah, I watched The Killer. Yeah,
Yeah, you. What are your
I feel
thoughts?
bad because our friend comedian of cinema, I think I saw him the other day saying he really enjoyed it.
Oh no, I hated it. I mean, I made it very clear at LFF.
Yeah, so I mean,
That's the
didn't
new
hate
Fincher
it.
film for context.
Yeah, with
it's out
Michael
on Netflix.
Fassbender, who I love Michael Fassbender. I
Me
think he's
too.
amazing. I can't wait for his next film, the one with Taika
Mm-hmm.
Waititi, about like the worst football team in the world, where he plays the coach. I think it's-
Cool runnings with football.
yeah, basically, it's called Next Goal Wins, I think.
Oh my God,
and
it's
it's
gonna
about
be so
him
good.
being the coach of like American Samoa, which were the worst soccer team ever. And I don't know. I think from the outset, I was like, oh, okay. I even like from that opening scene,
yeah.
which really, really drags on. It like the best way to put it, and maybe this is a lot of Fincher's films, it was a very like style over substance.
Mm-hmm.
Like it looks incredible. Fassbender's really good in it for sure. you know, like in that he plays the character really well, but there wasn't that much, like there wasn't much in the story to like keep me hooked. It kind of felt like it jumps from one thing to another really quickly, you know. It's and when you look at it, it's like a really basic plot that like, you know, it's John Wick without the dog, you know, rather than a dog, it's his partner who gets like beaten up. She doesn't even get killed. This is John Wick, the dog dies, for God's sake.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, exactly.
But it's a really basic premise, and then and then it just kind of ends.
Yeah, it doesn't really have to say much.
Yeah.
It's the best review that I read somewhere is it's a film that Steven Soderbergh could have made in a weekend.
Yeah.
And I don't mean that in a way to undermine Fincher, but this is the kind of film that you could see Steven Soderbergh could make on the side while making a bunch of other films, because there's not a lot to it. Because I agree with you. I think it looks great. I think the performance is decent. I think the soundtrack has something to say, but ultimately it doesn't have a lot of depth.
No, not at all. I think it's an incredibly forgettable film.
Yes.
I don't think I'll like. I won't think about it. It won't be one of those movies where I go, "Oh, that's like The Killer." I'll just completely forget about it in a while.
Something that I noticed though, from the people that did like it, because I think the movie already has a bit of a crowd, is the people that did like the film were people with high anxiety, and the people in my life that I know that like the film have a lot of anxiety, and in a weird way. And I noticed that the film has a lot of almost like grounding. I don't want to say technique necessarily, but it has that kind of like repetitiveness to it. And it brings a sense of calm almost, because it is so...
Well, that opening scene's all about that, isn't it?
Yeah, it's all about that. And it's repeated throughout the film. So
it's like ASMR almost in the way, Fassbender's delivery, whatever way they have them really close to the mic, it feels like.
Yeah, in a nihilistic way. So I feel like it spoke to a lot of people that are looking for that type of film. Which, I mean, I guess it has an audience, but not for me.
Yeah, no, it wasn't for me. And then on Saturday night, I went to see Bottoms.
All right, yeah, the comedy, yeah.
Yeah, and I was like pleasantly surprised at
how... good?
So it's... I would recommend you go and see it. It is really funny, and it gets progressively funnier as you come to realize what the film is. The basic premise of it is two girls who are trying to get laid, start a fight club. And that's kind of a really, really rough premise to it. And the two leads is, one of them is the girl from The Bear. And I can't, is it Rachel Sennett is the other one? I think she was in The Idol. I recognized her face, I think, from watching like the first episode.
Yeah.
And it's really funny, but it's very bizarre. Like it kind of, like the ending of it is fucking mad. It's so weird. But it's really, really funny. I thought it was genuinely like, I haven't... Nice. It's always really hard when you go to the cinema to see comedies and whether you're actually going to laugh at it or is it going to be a bit awkward. But it's genuinely like, there's some really funny bits in it.
That's very cool.
And yeah, good, like really good fight scenes as well. Nice. Beating the shit out of people.
Oh, cool.
But yeah, I thought it was surprisingly good, Bottoms, yeah.
Nice.
What about you?
Yeah. Well, I watched a bunch of stuff. Very quickly, the latest season of The Crown, season 6, the first part.
Oh, right. Okay. Oh, they're doing it in 2 parts, are they?
Yes. So the first one just came out, and the second part is going to come out in December. So
spoiler, she dies.
Yes. So the first part, the first 4 episodes is basically the Diana story.
What, does she die in the first 4 episodes?
Yes, that's
Oh, really? Wow. Okay, so they're doing that quite early, and then the second half will be the aftermath.
I think we should put a spoiler.
Come on, it's history. Like everybody knows Diana dies.
People may expect that she dies later on or something, but yes, she dies in the first part. It's basically the arc leading up to her death. Nothing that you wouldn't expect. I wouldn't agree with Guardian's review. That was 1 star. I thought that was a bit harsh. Yeah, Guardian hated the latest season.
Really?
But I just thought it had nothing interesting to say, and it was more like a love letter to Diana, which is fair game to the season. But
I thought the last season felt that way as well.
I think this one is even more extreme on that end. It really doesn't feel like The Crown. It feels like the Diana series, which is...
Well, I guess in a way, though.
You can't overlook that.
I can't really speak to it as someone who's probably too young. also not being from the UK, but like at that time, I guess a lot of people were kind of I don't know. So maybe you a bit more of an insight on this. I think people kind of were consumed by Diana, right? Like, you know,
I remember
she was
young.
bigger than them, and I guess the whole point was that was the thing that they didn't really like, is that Diana had become the star.
Yeah, it was all consuming for sure. But if you're telling the story of The Crown, I would love for that season to tell something different, would be to really drill down on the Queen and like the dynamics of the Crown.
Yeah, but what I would say to that is that don't forget there's another part of this season which is going to have to deal with the aftermath of that and her reaction to it. Because Diana's death is a huge thing that obviously deserves a bit of time, and there's actually going to be 4 episodes now, or however many, 5 of the aftermath of that.
No, they're gonna skip to William and Kate.
Oh God!
So that's
of course they are.
So this is why I was like, okay, so the last episode is basically
scratch everything I just said.
Yeah, so it's so the season is basically her and Dodie and like Saint-Tropez. Like it's a lot of paparazzi scenes. It's very much that. So it's like I feel like I've seen that 1,000 times in documentaries. So that said, Elizabeth Debicki is just incredible. I think it just continues to be amazing. But yeah, I was just a bit disappointed. But there's that. And then very quickly I saw Saltburn, which is the new Emerald Fennell movie. I went into that film. I didn't actually catch it during LFF because I heard mixed reviews. I was like, okay, fine, I'll watch it later. And I went to that film thinking that I'm going to get Promising Young Woman. And I go, we need to talk about Kevin.
Really?
And I wasn't ready for that. I feel like Barry Keown's character... No, I feel like Barry Keown plays a disturbing character is becoming a genre.
Yeah, it's in every film. He plays... I mean...
And
not
I'm
that
just
I don't like Barry
I want to
Keown,
see something different from you. It's the same thing over and over. I thought... Jacob Elordi's character, who's playing Nathan in Euphoria, Simon for context, who I thought was incredible in this film, and also was amazing in Priscilla, where he played Elvis. I think he's just amazing. He was the most standout character because
it's a pretty big cast, isn't it? It's like Richard E. Grant, Rosamund Pike.
Yes, Carey Mulligan has a bit of a cameo, so great cast, and everyone is great. Even Barry is great, but it's very nihilistic in its take. And while Promising Young Woman had a lot to say, I don't know what this film had to say instead of just looking amazing. It looks great. It looks very much like Glass Onion.
Style over substance again type thing.
Maybe there's some substance in there that doesn't, I don't know, doesn't align with my worldview. But I would love to get your take because it just ends very... I don't know, the third act is just bizarre and gets weirder. It has a really good plot twist and then it gets... very weird from there on. So
where can you watch it?
No, it's just in the cinema right now. But I'm guessing it's gonna come out.
It's just come out, hasn't it?
Yeah, it just came out. Yeah. So give it a go. I mean, it's definitely for some people, but I'm not a nihilist. So,
not many people are these days.
So, yeah.
It's hard. Yeah, I have a list of things that I'm starting to think now. Okay, I want to go to the cinema now, having gone to Bottoms the other night, and Napoleon is one of them.
Are you going to go to the cinema for that?
Yeah. I'm going to go. Yeah. Definitely. I might go to picture.
I'm going to wait for that one.
I do want to see the Marvels, to be honest. I do want to see it.
I'm going to wait for that.
And then, obviously Saltburn's out. And then there's some stuff coming out kind of closer to Christmas that, I'll wait for. But
is
there a Richard Curtis number coming out?
There's not a Richard Curtis number coming out.
I will see Wonka in the cinema. I mean, not that I care about the film as much, but just because it's such a blockbuster film that I would love to get like a huge popcorn and a lot of candy and just watch that film.
Which one?
Eat yourself into a coma.
It's a new Wonka film. Yeah.
With Timothy Chalamet as a young Wonka.
It's like the third remake in our lifetime.
Well, so this isn't a remake, yeah. So there's the original, then there's the Johnny Depp.
Yeah, I think they're going to ignore the Johnny Depp first.
Is that not good?
Oh no, I think they're going to ignore it.
Right.
This is like this is like an origin story. This is like Timothy Chalamet playing a young Willy Wonka opening his first ever sweet shop in some, is it London or is it like some fictional place? It looks like London. I don't know what it's supposed to be.
Well, it has Hugh Grant, so it must be London.
Yes, it must be London. And it kind of looks like London. And I think a lot of it was filmed in London. Yeah, it's a prequel,
Yeah.
I just don't see the point.
Yeah, well, we'll see.
which kind of I think leads us kind of on quite nicely to our community segment in a way.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
Well, because you had the idea of the question for our audience because there have been so many remakes, so many sequels, so many prequels recently. We have the Mean Girls musical announcement. We have the Hunger Games prequel. We have
Wonka.
Yeah.
There's the Harry Potter series that HBO are working on, which seems mad.
It is. Yeah, it's mad.
That's the weirdest one for me because and I don't know. I think it's because it's a remake. So there's some interesting comments on the post that you put up about sequels and prequels and remakes kind of being different things, and I agree with that. But the remaking Harry Potter doesn't feel that long ago.
Wait, so what's the premise of the series? Is it going to be literally a remake, or is it going to be like a House of Dragons sort of?
I think it's going to be a remake. Yeah.
What, they're going to recast Harry?
I think so. Yeah, I'll have to look into it. Hang on, I'm going to have to Google this, but I think so. Yeah.
Wow.
Is Harry Potter ageless, or does he get older?
Oh yeah, of course he does.
But like in the films, does he grow up
as well? Yeah, in the books as well, because he has kids with.
In the book.
Yeah. I don't
with
know
Hermione.
Yeah,
no.
So it's on Deadline.com. It says the new Max original series will deep dive into each of the iconic books that have continued to that fans have continued to enjoy all this year. That was from the chairman CEO of HBO Max and Content about the project, which he assured fans will be a faithful adaptation. Yeah, so there you go. So it will be a direct remake. So we'll be seeing new castings for Harry Potter, Hermione Granger, Ron Weasley.
I mean, you would have to change the plot, otherwise it just becomes so predictable. Why would you?
Yeah.
It doesn't work if you know all the plot twists and all the.
It feels like they should have. It feels like they should do something, and I guess this is the thing, right? So should you ever try a remake, or should you take the story and just try and do something different with it? Because a lot of the comments that people talked about is that,
someone brought up Dune.
Yeah, and saying, I'm here for a remake if it has something interesting to say. And I think that's fair enough. And I think taking a different spin on it is different, but it's kind of hard to know with this. Obviously, a series is different because with Harry Potter, we just got the films. So it was 7 or 8 films?
Yeah.
But this will it's HBO. This could be like 100 episodes of Harry Potter deep diving into all the lore of the books and that kind of stuff.
My take is a remake is okay if the original has been pretty bad. So the Dune is a perfect example. Like the original Dune from David Lynch was very eclectic. Like it was just for a very eclectic crowd. It was mostly camp and wasn't perceived well by the critics at all. It was considered a disappointment. But then you have Denis Villeneuve doing the remake, which is an incredible remake, and no one complained about that being remade because it was worth the effort. Because the original adaptation, which was the book, never got a proper movie adaptation. So to me, that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, so somebody said to it, so it's OJ's 23. So they say sequels and prequels are fine as long as there's a story and the audiences are invested in the characters in the world. Some of my favorite films are sequels like Indiana Jones and The Last Crusade. Yeah. Reboots are another story. There needs to be a general need or a new story to be told. I'm 37 and I can't believe I'm seeing reboots for movies I saw that only feel like not that long ago, i.e. Mean Girls.
Yeah.
And Mean Girls does feel like... Now, I think Mean Girls could be a different one because... society, even in what is Mean Girls, like 2004?
Yeah.
Like society has changed in the same way that you rewatch Love Actually and you think, fucking hell, there's so much about it that like you just wouldn't get away with now. Mean Girls, there'll be an interesting story to tell about the difference between, that kind of parodied idea of girls in school versus cliques in school now. Could be quite interesting.
Yeah.
It'll just depend on what they do with it. But,
because cinema is such a good prism through which to view social history and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think, it's just stuff like, the problem is, and I think we've obviously spoken about this a lot in the podcast about stuff like Marvel and Disney and Warner Brothers, is that the market kind of gets overly saturated with remakes of things that just don't feel like they need to be remade. So I think a good example of it is of like an IP that should have been left alone is Lord of the Rings. Mm-hmm. The Amazon series
Oh my God, yeah.
tried to do one of the older stories, but actually kind of...
Is that the one that you hate watched?
Yes,
No,
me too.
I hate what. Yeah, I did actually. No, I did hate watch
I
it.
did
Yeah,
hate watch it as well.
One of my
what did-
favourites is
yeah.
the Bourne trilogy. Whatever, there's 4 of them now, isn't there?
yeah. Well, no, there's 5.
But
There's the what's your man, the Jeremy Renner one as well.
yeah, the Greengrass ones I really liked, and I really enjoyed the subsequent films as much as I did the first one.
I think it's easy
true.
as well with those because they're based off books, almost.
And it's like a continuous story that never ends, and it's really fast. And yeah, Home Alone 2 I liked.
Yeah, fair.
I
mean, some of
Die Hard
some
2.
of the sequels are the best. I mean, Empire Strikes Back, Indiana Jones. I agree with that one. I mean, Last Crusade is the third
Dark
Indiana
Knight.
Jones film. Dark Knight, yeah. I guess it's more so the remakes thing, which just to me it just feels weird.
Beverly Hills Cop.
But that's coming back as well.
I have a
There's another.
I just meant
they're-
Beverly Hills Cop 2 was quite good.
well, they're filming Beverly Hills Cop 4 at the minute with Eddie Murphy. Yeah.
What about bad sequels though? Has anyone mentioned any bad sequels? There are a lot of Marvel films that have, Warner
for
Brothers
sure.
films
I mean, some
that have a lot of
absolutely
bad
dreadful ones.
sequels. But I'm trying to think of. Alien. 1, 2, 3. Not was it the third one that was a bit of a failure? It was one that was
Alien and Aliens are quite good because that's the
All
James
of them.
Cameron and Ridley Scott ones.
Oh, okay.
Same with Terminator and Terminator 2.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
Terminator 2 is a
Terminator,
great
Terminator
shout.
2 is amazing.
Yeah.
Then Terminator 3 is dreadful. Alien 3 is crap.
Yeah, Alien 3 is really bad. Yeah, that's the one that was
Yeah.
really bad.
And then there's an interesting point about stuff as well that remakes that Hollywood sometimes doesn't understand of like stuff like Old Boy, which they're taking IP that's originally like South Korean or from a different country, and they're trying to remake it for US audiences, and it just falls flat in its face. Even if you do shot for shot remakes, and I mean somebody made a point of saying you don't see remakes for stuff like Casablanca, Gone with the Wind, Clockwork Orange. In these cases, it'll never be too soon. They didn't think it was too soon for Psycho. They remade Psycho they did a fucking shot for shot remake with Vince Vaughn, and it's shot for shot, line for line a remake. And
Is it a piss
somehow,
take?
no, it's serious, and it's him playing what's his name, Norman Bates. Is that the character?
Yeah.
Vince
but
Vaughn.
Vince Vaughn.
And it's dreadful. It's so bad.
Strange.
And yet it's supposed to be like a shot for shot remake.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'd be interested to know what you guys think about this, but studios that are constantly pushing out remakes, it's kind of a sad state of affairs for the fact that is there really no more
Ideas.
original blockbuster ideas to get behind?
Well, I think they speak to a lot of the audience in terms of nostalgia and people that saw the original and then they want to take their kids to watch the remake, which is why a lot of the remakes are actually much more family friendly, I find. Like the Wonka one, for example. Like you could make a more mature version of Wonka.
The old Willy Wonka's really shocking. There's there's loads of like fattest jokes.
Yeah.
And,
yeah.
Oh my God.
gluttony and all these sort of sins are covered off in it, aren't they?
Yeah, it's dreadful.
No, it's
yeah.
awful. No, it's awful.
It's fat. It's just fat shames everybody
Yeah.
on film. Yeah.
Yeah, just awful. But now I think with a lot of the remakes, they're just trying to remove, I don't know, they're trying to make them very clinical and very safe, which is what Marvel is trying to do with a lot of its films as well these days, which is family first, family friendly.
Well, IGN wrote a really good article recently about kind of, because they've announced that Pedro Pascal is possibly going to play
Yes.
Mr. Fantastic.
That'd be-
Do you know who Pedro Pascal is?
No.
So did you watch The Last of
I
Us
love how Simon,
series?
it's just like,
I'm trying to
it's just giving,
You watched a bit of The Last of Us TV show, didn't you?
Which one?
The Last of Us, the TV
Oh,
show.
yeah.
So the guy who plays Joel in that.
the
which
main
one's
guy,
that?
the main
The
guy.
main guy.
Oh, okay.
So he's being lined up to play Mr. Fantastic in the Fantastic Four, which is like one of Marvel's.
Yeah.
Like it's for a long time, it's been like the elephant in the room of like one of their biggest ever comic books that they haven't had the rights to,
Yeah.
and they're finally making a film for it now. And IGN wrote a really interesting article where they made the point that when Marvel first started with Disney and they were making all these films, they were hiring nobodies to play the main characters. So nobody knew who Chris Hemsworth was. Nobody knew who Tom Hiddleston really was. Chris Pratt wasn't that famous. Robert Downey Jr. had kind of only just gotten out of jail and was like, it was becoming okay to have him back in movies again. And they went they went low budget on their actors so they could go high budget on everything else. Nowadays, they are just throwing money at the problem. And that's kind of like a lot of studios are doing this with IP and everything. It's just throwing in as much shit as you can and hoping it'll stick. And it's just...
My thing on those superhero films is that it's so tightly controlled. It comes across in the creative. Like, there's obviously very little ad-libbing. There's very little like left to chance on set. It's just so clinically executed that it just feels so wooden and inevitable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas like I love films where there's been loads of the actors bringing something of themselves to the part and be able to change up lines because it's more natural for them or whatever, like more creativity basically.
And I guess that's a trust thing from big studios, right? Like, you know, the reason to do a Wonka remake or a Mean Girls remake is because you see the sentiment online, you see people like these things, people love Timothée Chalamet. It's going to be very easy to cast him as a young Gene Wilder, Johnny Depp character and make it aloof and make it fun and make it safe for everybody in an IP that everybody knows. Like, everybody knows Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Like, it's universally known. Maybe not universally known, but you know what I mean? Like, it's a huge thing. But like, studios don't trust the fact that there might be, you know, putting a lot of money behind a smaller director with a really interesting idea and allowing them a little bit more freedom. It's like, no, let's just keep remaking the same things over and over and over again because we know it'll make the money.
Yeah.
We all just need to protest. We need to stop going to see these things. We need to just
Well, I've
cancel
given
our
up
Disney
on
Plus subscriptions. And
Marvel. Loki aside, which was good. What about prequels though? Because prequels are an interesting one.
Yeah.
Because in a way you could see, like you could argue, oh God, they're just like the story's done and dusted. We don't have to revisit it any longer. And then you could also argue, well, they do enrich the story that if they're done well. Because I haven't watched House of the Dragons, but I'm hearing good things about it.
Yeah.
As an extension of the Game of Thrones universe in a way. I don't know if it's needed, but it's it's been well received so far.
Yeah, I enjoyed House of the Dragon. I almost
Dragon.
Yeah, House of the Dragon. Yeah,
No,
it's yeah. I mean, it's an interesting one because it depends. Like, you know, so like the Hunger Games one at the minute, which is the prequel that's just come out. You know, was there any need for a prequel explaining Donald Sutherland's character? You know,
it's very
or
niche.
like, you know, the Fantastic Beasts with Harry Potter,
God.
which initially, and that's actually a really interesting one. So that started as a spin-off and then became, I don't know why, became a Dumbledore prequel. And I was like, okay, well, let's bring in Jude Law and we'll bring in Johnny Depp and we'll make it like a big Dumbledore thing and we'll introduce characters who could inevitably be Voldemort. Like, why did that have to go from an interesting spin-off idea to, fuck it, we'll just make it a prequel because people will be more interested in that and they'll buy it?
Yeah, I think that's just lazy studio exec decision making.
You know, I think, I always think an interesting one with prequels is the Star Wars films in that I think they've aged better with time. I think people have a greater affinity for them now. Like when they initially came out, obviously like Phantom Menace and Clone Wars were absolutely destroyed. Or sorry, not Clone Wars, Attack of the Clones. Excuse me, getting the Star Wars lore mixed up. My God, how dare I? But they at least enhance the story in a way.
Yeah.
You know, there's already breadcrumbs there from the original ones that are planted that kind of make you go, oh yeah, I am kind of interested in that.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's hard to, like, a prequel needs to be in it. I think it needs to be like justified. Like, you know, what's the justification for it? Like, was there enough interest in the first place?
Yeah. I think a prequel could work if the original left a lot of room for something to be explored. Like, we never got to know what happened to this guy. Like, we spoke about Reservoir Dogs in our last episode. Like, whatever happened to Pink? Like, I could see a spin-off of Pink's character and what happened to him. Maybe an episode of a series.
I like it when I can't think of many that I even know, let alone like, but it's like when it explains some character's actions because you find out about their previous life, like what happened to them.
Yes.
Because then it can build more empathy with that character. That's when they can work. So Better Call Saul would be my example of a good one.
Yes. That's
because you're like, why does this guy behave like this? Oh, this is his whole life. Like,
that's a perfect example. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, El Camino probably wasn't necessary. The sequel.
No, exactly. There you go. So there's two things within the Breaking Bad universe. So Better Call Saul is something that's gone on to surpass Breaking Bad. I mean, I've never really got into it, and I need to, but a lot of people tend to think
I love
Better Call Saul is better than Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
And El Camino was a 2-hour car crash of just something that wasn't needed. We didn't need to see Jesse getting away. Like
What is El Camino another better?
It's a sequel.
El Camino's like it's a sequel to see what happened to Jesse after he escaped.
After that shooting at the end of Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
So when he the last shot of him is
the
driving
machine
away.
gun in the back of the truck.
And so there's where a sequel is completely unjustified, because Jesse's ending there is like really satisfying, and him driving away, laughing and crying his eyes out is a really profound
church. That's the only thing I remember about that show. Who the fuck said church?
But like,
does anyone say that?
Yeah, no.
Have you ever heard that in the wild?
No.
Church.
There's many things I see on television that I haven't heard in the wild, though, to be fair. But like, that was one where
I dare you to say that in a meeting next week.
What? Church. I'll see if I can slip it in. But there's one that like that diminishes Jesse's ending, like an ending that was almost perfect, and then a sequel kind of undoes some of that work.
It's over-explaining. I think that's when it gets into that territory.
You're kind of treating the audience like an idiot and being like, well, we need to show you word for word what has happened now.
Yeah.
You know? Like, it's
I
like...
guess he was a much-loved character, and they thought, we'll try and spin it out a bit.
Yeah. It's on Netflix if you want to give it a go. It's not a terrible movie, but it's just like,
it's
okay,
just
whatever.
unnecessary.
Yeah,
but he's a
unnecessary.
much-loved character that they thought, well, we can spin more money out of this, is what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
That was a Netflix move. Yeah.
Like, I can't imagine Vince Gilligan was going, we definitely need to fucking do this. We need to make sure that everybody knows what happened to Jesse after he left. Like, it just doesn't make sense.
No.
But as you say, like the best prequels are the ones that give you justifications for people's actions. You know, to an extent, Anakin Skywalker becoming Darth Vader in Star Wars. You know, but it's true. It's true. I still think
we
Revenge
find
of
out
the
who
Sith.
the real father was.
Yeah, exactly.
we?
I still think Revenge of the Sith is an amazing film.
What is a Sith?
What is it? Dude, oh my God. You haven't seen
Is it an animal?
No, but it's on my Christmas jumper for this year.
Okay.
Oh my God,
I've got my new ugly Christmas jumper.
Oh, that's so funny.
And I'll wear it for our last record before Christmas. It's this is a collection of words that Simon is not going to understand. It has Darth Maul's face on the front. His pose from Duel of the Fates on the back.
Right.
And then it says Sith the Season underneath in massive letters under his face. And it's bright red and yellow.
That's
I love
amazing.
it. It's so ugly.
Oh, I love
It's so
it.
ugly and I love it.
Can't wait to see
It
it
arrived the other day
IRL.
and I was so
Where
excited.
did you order this thing from?
Amazon. From something called Merchoid. I basically every year I go to them for a new ugly Christmas jumper.
Oh,
2 years,
Merchoid, that's
2
a
years in a
great
row.
name.
It's been Star Wars. But I've had a Rick and Morty
Why
one.
don't you just start making them?
Dude, I can't knit.
No, but you could get them produced.
I probably could. Yeah,
You could do the designs.
yeah.
He likes to support local.
Even the
Support
name's
local
funny.
businesses.
He likes support local businesses, local talent.
I mean, listen, it was fucking 40 quid for the jumper.
Oh,
though. I wouldn't say that. I
Jesus.
wouldn't say
Probably
they're a
get
small
sued
business.
by Lucasfilm for the pun.
Yeah, exactly.
1000%.
Well, not just the pun, the fact that they have one of their characters' faces blasted across it. That is basically the size of my torso.
Oh my God.
We'll take a
it's
picture.
an interpretation.
It'll be on the video if
It's an
I wear it.
interpretation. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly for a Christmas episode in future. But yeah, I think you know, a prequel can be justified in ways that, as you say, Simon, if it gives you more, and then a sequel is fully justified if it does something different. So to go into some real nerd chat, the Battlestar Galactica sequel.
I've stopped following.
The Battlestar Galactica.
Is that Star Trek or Star Wars?
It is neither.
Oh,
It is the Cylons. Is amazing. So honestly, it's on iPlayer.
I believe you.
Go and watch some of it. Now the CGI is dreadful. It's like early noughties space CGI, and it looks like Play-Doh in space with like flashing lights on it. Some of it's really bad, but the storylines in it are really interesting. Like, and it's, you know, it's a TV show set in space, but also written at the time when, like, in the height of the Iraq War. So like there's lots of stuff in it about like politics and terrorism and all that kind of stuff. And it's not just fighting robots in space. And And it's a really good sequel because it tried to do something different and it like, progressed it more. It's a sequel / remake where like it comes back like I think 50 years after the original, but like it does it in a really interesting way. So there's two really dorky examples of sequels and prequels that work.
I'll take your word for it because I never watched it. So,
dude, there aren't enough hours in the week to watch that.
Dude, there's 4 seasons. There's like 20 episodes a season. Yeah, it's good if you have some time.
Damn.
Your Christmas binging can be the Battlestar Galactica series on BBC iPlayer.
Okay,
it's really good. I swear, guys. I swear. I always tell people this, and they're like, "Oh,
It's
Battlestar Galactica." I'm like, it's really good.
What's it on?
It's really good. It's on iPlayer.
Okay. Festive recommendation for people as well.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's not that festive. It's pretty grim.
No.
It's pretty fucking depressing.
Oh no, okay, cool.
Especially as I say, those terrorism and space episodes get really fucking really dark with like people in it who are like playing convicted terrorists. But what can you do? It'll be fine. Merry Christmas.
Oh, Merry Christmas, Boxing Day. Cool. Okay, I think we answered the question, and I mean, I appreciate everyone for spending a lot of time writing super long comments. We couldn't read them.
Normally
live.
we ask for
one-liner.
one-liners, but we got like amazing like essays from people. Which
amazing.
really
And
cool.
also don't forget, you can always voice record and send over your voice note to us. Till next time, we're gonna be back in a couple of weeks with the one and only Parasite, a film from the Desert Island Vault, which is, Ben mentioned that it's out on Netflix. So in the odd chance you haven't watched it or you need a rewatch, yes, yeah. I will too. We'll be back with the final scene of Parasite. See you later.
See ya.
Bye.
Did you like it? Did you like that?
Did I like it? I loved it.
I had no idea you could milk a cat.
I have nipples, Greg. Could you milk me?
Good morning.
Morning. Good morning.
Oh, and in case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.